How's it going, friends? It's Cameron from Venus Theory, and welcome back to another episode of The Sauce, the show where I talk about gear, plugins, and my own 13 herbs and spices when it comes to music production. As you probably know, I have a thing for reverb. Specifically, I like really big, expansive reverbs that just go on forever and ever and ever. I love Tal Reverb 4. I love Aural River. I really love the space algorithm from Parawave Rapid. I just like reverb a lot. I use it on all of my tracks in excessive amounts, and it's something I use in my sound design process all the time. I really like reverb. One of my other favorite plugins that's become just kind of a mainstay in my arsenal is Bad Tape by Denise. They sent this to me for a review, and it is just an addiction of mine. It just kind of goes on everything, and it makes it sound like I want it to sound, and just makes it sound better. They've now released a new reverb called Perfect Room, and I'm just gonna pause all this right here, stop this video, and go buy it. It is that good. Perfect Room and the other Denise plugins are on sale right now. There are steep discounts happening until the end of the year. You can pause this video and go pick them up for yourself at denise.io. Since the channel really started to take off, thanks to awesome people such as yourself, I get a lot of plugins sent to me for reviews and demos and all that, and I download a lot of trials of plugins because people ask me about them and want to get my thoughts on it and whatever, and I just have never had an experience like I did with Perfect Room. It was this magical moment where I just put it on a track, and this is just default settings. I hadn't even touched anything at this point. And the second I heard it, my brain just went like, that's the one. That is my new favorite thing. Perfect Room is really exactly what it says it is. It's like the Perfect Room reverb. I don't know what kind of black magic the folks at Denise invoked in order to create this and make it sound like it does, but it is the most natural, smooth, and just organic sounding reverb that I've ever heard. I don't have enough vague producer adjectives to describe how I feel about this. So in this video, I wanted to show you around Perfect Room and compare it to some of my other favorite reverbs and just show what makes it special. But before we do that, I think it's important that we take a minute and talk a little bit about how algorithmic reverbs work. So an algorithmic reverb is just that. It is an algorithm. It's a set of things that happen, and out the other end comes a reverb. Usually this is done by using a delay network, which is just a bunch of delays feeding back at different amounts and at different times, and this is an okay way to simulate an acoustic environment that sound propagates in. If you think about it right now in this room I'm in, if I clap my hands, the sound of me clapping is going to bounce off the different walls, which are different distances away, and then it's going to reflect back onto the different walls at different angles and times, and so on and so on. And that's all reverb is. It's just a bunch of different delays happening at once. From there, you'll add in things like all pass filters, comb filters, EQs, filters, distortions, whatever, and this is what makes a reverb algorithm. And that's why everyone sounds a bit different. It's because it's just this puzzle box of stuff that someone put together, and that's what makes that specific reverb sound the way it does. Now, one of the inherent problems with these types of algorithmic reverbs is that delays will produce a metallic resonant tone. If you have a very short delay that's feeding back a lot, you get just this feedbacky metallic tone that's kind of annoying. This often becomes much more apparent when you're using an algorithmic reverb that's set to simulate a much smaller acoustic environment like a room. Now, some will get around this by having some kind of randomization or changeable function for the early reflections, and this can sometimes get rid of these resonances or change them in a way to where they're not as noticeable, but you never really get out of it entirely. So this is exactly what Denise set out to change, and they created their own algorithm called TX-Verb, and like I said, it just sounds incredible. On top of that, Perfect Room gives us 3 different decay tail types. We get 5 different rooms, and you get a built-in shimmer reverb, a modulation or detuning function, and a ducking function, which ducks the signal out of the way of the reverb, which I always appreciate when that's built into a reverb. It's a nice feature to have. So let's dive on into DAWg here and check out Perfect Room compared to some of my other favorites. Alright, so here we are in DAWg, and I've got Perfect Room up alongside some of my other favorite reverbs, as well as a convolution reverb, and I've set up a little drum loop that's just very dry and very straightforward. So let's go ahead and start things off by taking a listen to the drum loop completely dry and just establish that bass line. So it's just a quick addictive drums kit here, nothing going on. I've turned the room off entirely, shortened the samples a bit to make them a bit more dry, and that's pretty much it. This feeds into micro comp and then micro warmer. This is just to create kind of a nice vintage drum break type of vibe. So let's go ahead and take a listen to the dry drums now. Okay, so now let's go ahead and turn on Perfect Room and listen to the difference this makes. Okay, let's move on to DAWg's internal reverb. Okay, let's check out Aural River. Okay, next up, Tal Reverb 4. And finally, let's compare all this to a convolution reverb. This is Convolugy XT, and this is just a little room impulse. So I think it's fair to say the clear winner here is Perfect Room. It just sounds the best. I think that's followed by Convolugy XT and then by Aural River. So I didn't show the actual settings, but now we can take a look at that. I just wanted to give a pure audio demo. So if I crack all of these open here, we can get them all up on the screen at once. There we go. Okay, so basically I tried to set these as close as I could to each other for the exact same settings. Including the DAWg reverb, which is down here. We can take a look at that in just a sec. So I've got 800 millisecond decay time, high passed at 80, low passed at 6.5, pre-delay 28 milliseconds, and mixed in 50-50. That's it. So Tal reverb, I didn't really know what the timing was because it's a percentage value, so I just kind of ballparked it and then set everything else to the same point. I did the same with Aural River here and just kind of tweaked it till it sounded about right because the wet didn't quite seem like 50-50, was actually 50-50. Convolugy, I just kind of approximated because again, the decay is based on a multiplication, so it's not like an actual clear-cut value. So, you know, just ballparked that. And then the DAWg reverb here as well, I got this to 800 milliseconds, high pass, low pass, all that stuff, you know, everything was set as close as I could to each other. So now that we've got that out of the way, let's go ahead and take a look at Perfect Room here and break down the controls and see what we get. So down here, we've got an input and output gain adjustment, the mix, high pass filter, low pass filter, a delay, which is a pre-delay, tail, which is the overall time, and the width, which is the width in stereo. Up in the top left here, we have the decay. So we have natural, which is a natural decay. We have triangle, which is linear. And we have square, which is actually no decay. So it stays at a consistent volume and then just stops, which I think is actually really, really cool and sounds really good on melodic material. To the right of that, we have the 5 different rooms here. So we have Bright XL, which is going to be the brightest out of all of them. I'm just going to play some cymbals here, and that'll probably make a bit more sense. We have Flat here. And we have Dark XL on the other end, which is just the darkest of the 5. And then we have Bright here, which is just a bit brighter, and Dark, which is just a bit darker. Personally, I'm really partial to the dark mode, but Bright XL sounds excellent on vocal material. Over to the right here, we have Flip, which we can enable and get a reversed reverb, which is really, really fun. And Split allows us to control if the reverb is in stereo or not. Up here, we have the shimmer control. We can click to access the settings. So this is the amount of shimmer, the low octave and high octave blends, and then you can just blend it in here by clicking and dragging. We have detune, which if we open that up is just the amount of modulation being applied to the reverb. And again, you just slide to enable it. And ducker, which we can open over here. And this will adjust all the settings for the ducker, and you can blend in the amount of ducking happening right there. I actually really like the way this interface is laid out because it's so uncluttered and it just gets things out of the way. So you don't have that initial learning curve of like, what is this and what is it doing? Everything's kind of clearly separated into its own little section that you can then go to and change and tweak. There are quite a few presets as well, so you can just go through here and browse through all of them. You can open it up to see all of them as well, and then you can save them if you make your own that you really like and just want to save that setting for later. And I think that covers all there is to talk about with Perfect Room. It is a damn good reverb. It sounds incredible, and I just wanted to show it off on a couple different types of material for you guys, so let's go ahead and dive into that now. And that's it for this video. So big shout out to Denise for hooking me up with Perfect Room. It is A+, 11 out of 10 game of the year for me. This is a must-own reverb plugin for producers. You need to go buy it. It is really good. I can't say that enough. But yeah, guys, so that's it. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. Be sure to like and subscribe, and I will see you guys again soon.